Welcome back. Now, in the last module in this series, we established that time really is a business resource, right? It's not just a personal one. So now what we're going to do is take time to actually look at where yours is going. And this module is very hands-on because by the end of it, you'll have a simple audit that you can run on your own week. And most people are actually genuinely surprised because sometimes, even uncomfortably so, by what they are finding. And this isn't about guilt. This is just about visibility. You can't redesign a week that you haven't actually looked at honestly. And that's what this is all about. Now, the framework that we'll use for the audit, here it is. So every hour of your week falls into one of three buckets. Okay, there's the owner work. Now, that's where the strategic thinking, the big decisions, the work that only the founder can really do. It's like setting directions, right? It's like deciding what not to pursue. Then there is the operator work. So the operator work, that's running the day-to-day. It's delivering the product or the service, or it's managing the team's output. And then the third is the admin work. That's the scheduling, the invoicing, the inbox administration, the tasks that need doing, but don't need necessarily you specifically. Now, most founders start out doing all three because they have to. Now, the problem is that many are still doing all three years later when the business has really grown through enough, and it shouldn't require that anymore. Now, once you can sort of see your work week in those three buckets, then the next question is which activities are actually driving results? Now, for most of us as founders, a relatively small slice of what we do often is strategic, high leverage stuff, owner work, right? And that accounts for the majority of what actually moves the business forward. And everything else can feel busy and even necessary, but it's often just notion. And this isn't about eliminating the operator or the admin work entirely. Of course not. Someone's got to do it. It's just about being honest about how much of your personal time is going to them versus where your time is genuinely irreplaceable. So here's how we actually do this. For one working week, what you're going to do is track your time in roughly 30-minute blocks. It doesn't have to be precise, really just down to the minute, just honest and sort of rough order of magnitude. And against each block, mark it O if it's owner's work, mark it P if it's for operator work, and mark it A if it's for admin work, right? So O for owner, P for operator, and A for admin. Now you can do this on paper, you can do it on your computer, whatever it happens to be. Now, whatever's frictionless and you can actually keep in front of you for a few days. The only rule here is that you have to log it as you're going along, or at worst, at the end of the day as a recap. Don't really try to reconstruct it all from memory on Friday afternoon because you will absolutely not remember everything about what it is that you did. So do it continuously as the week progresses. And at the end of the week, let's total up the hours in each of the buckets. And then, and this is really the key thing over here, compare that to where you assumed that your time was going before you tracked it. And almost everyone that I've run through this exercise guesses wrong, usually in the same direction. They think that they're spending more time on the owner work when actually they are spending far, far more time on the admin than they actually thought they were. And that gap between perception and reality is exactly what this exercise is designed to expose. Now, once we have these totals, here's roughly how to read them. If admin is eating a large chunk of your week, then that's a very strong signal for delegation. And that will cover properly in another module. If you're heavy on the operator one and light on the owner work, well, that's worth taking quite seriously. It often means that the business is running you day to day rather than you steering it. And that's exactly what the strategic drift that we talked about earlier is all about. And if you find yourself already protecting or a decent chunk of owner time, well, that's good. Okay, the goal from here really isn't to add more hours, it's to protect what you've already got, because that's actually the first thing to get sacrificed when things get very busy. Now, there's an extra useful step once we've got the audit done. What we do is we go through the logged activities that we've identified, and we ask, is this actually a key activity on my business model canvas? Or is it something that's crept in over time that isn't really core to how the business creates or delivers value? What you do is you'll find often a surprising amount of operator or admin time going into things that aren't really key activities at all. Okay, they are legacy habits, or they are favors, or they are side processes that nobody ever really formally decided to keep doing. And those usually are the easiest wins to cut because they were never really load-bearing in the first place. So let's recap. So we're going to track a week in the owner, operator, and admin buckets. We're going to total them up, and let's be honest about the gap between what you assumed and what you found out. And then what we're going to do is cross-check that against our business model canvas in the key activities to spot anything that really shouldn't really be there at all. And once you know where your time is actually going, then the next question is what we're going to do about it. Specifically, how do you decide what genuinely deserves priority going forward? So see you in the next module.